Trump Organization is set to face criminal tax fraud charges on Monday in New York in a trial that could start to tease out the many allegations against the company and by extension its patriarch, Donald J. Trump. If found guilty, the company, which is run by Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, could face $1.6 million in fines and find its ability to operate hotels, golf courses, and other assets impeded. The Manhattan investigation into Trump's company has made its own rocky road to a jury trial. It began under District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. and is now in the hands of his successor, Alvin Bragg. Two prosecutors leading the investigation resigned in February, with one saying the former president should face felony charges. Lawyers for the Trump Organization have claimed the case is a selective prosecution motivated by opposition to Trump's political views, a claim that the judge in charge, Juan Merchan, has dismissed. They also said prosecutors are trying to find Trump's company because a handful of its officers allegedly failed to report fringe benefits on their personal tax returns. But the stakes for both parties, the prosecutor and the accused, are high. In contrast to Trump's stalled efforts to contest the 2020 election results, the Trump Organization has brought in an A-team of attorneys to counterclaims by a coordinated panel of prosecutors to meet a heavy burden of proof in criminal cases. Weisselberg was subpoenaed to testify, but he is not a cooperating witness. Nevertheless, his 5-month prison sentence, which was agreed with the public prosecutor's office, depends on truthful statements. Crucially, the Manhattan Attorney's Office arranged for Weisselberg's sentencing to be delayed until after the case. In order to prove that the company is guilty, the government is entitled to hold accountable not only Weisselberg but also other company executives, possibly including Donald Trump himself, whom they may be trying to show they are aware of the alleged tax rule new. It's strategically a really difficult case both for Weisselberg and Trump because they could end winning the battle and losing the war, says Andrew Weissman, a former federal prosecutor who now teaches law at New York University. If they do a typical defense cross-examination of Weisselberg and they catch him in some sort of lie, then his deal is over and the pressure on him to flip, on Trump, is going to be that much greater. The idea that Trump didn't know is going to be the critical thing that Weisselberg is asked about. If he denies that Donald Trump knew, you can see the judge saying, "I don't believe it, and I'm going to take that into account when I sentence you." In the circumstances, Merchan could increase Weisselberg's sentence to up to 15 years in prison, not 5 months on Rikers Island, an honor sentence for a 75-year-old. Letitia James' civil lawsuit further alleges that Weisselberg committed fraud by providing false information to Zurich North American Insurance Company. Theoretically, Weisselberg could still be indicted by Bragg if his testimony is deemed untrue. Clearly, they still want Weisselberg to cooperate, says Weissman. But with the trials starting next week, there's a feeling Bragg's case could be easier to prove than James' complaint, which focuses on creating reviews but requires a lighter burden of proof. Bragg's allegations are much more concrete because they allege making payments that were clearly part of the person's salary, keeping track of them, but only reporting what was listed as salary, says Weissman. The problem for the defense is that if they say this is a gray area and isn't a crime, they have to say that Weisselberg is lying. If the judge agrees, Weisselberg is in a tough position.